at pressure and then just win through sheer tempo. Sometimes it has that proactive play can be really key. Not to mention, of course, there's a lot of inherent synergy that just has that priest has with minions that have high health. So Twilight Drake makes Apotheosis even better, or it makes the trades that's able to take really powerful because you have Wave of Apathy and other things to make it be very impressive onto that board. And of course, activate Cleric of Scales, which we saw it not be activated repeatedly. In fact, I don't even remember if No Hands drew a single dragon in any of the priest games that we saw him play, and yet he was able to still get it done. Either way, let's go to game number 1, that Rogue versus Priest here, featuring Eddie's Underbelly Fence, which is in that opening hand.
Yeah. He drew 1 Murazon, Dan. That's it.
You're right.
Immediately. You're right. But he never had a Cleric of Scales that was played active, which is kind of funny that you play the Murazon before that. But all right, let's get into it. Can be a tough matchup, as you saw, for the Rogue. We kind of talked this one to death, but so many crazy things can happen. The biggest thing is it's Rogue, if given enough time, can assemble value. But the way the Priest deck work right now is they don't give you that time. And so Priest kind of comes at you faster with minions and then faster with value. And so it becomes about whether or not you can force them to play inefficiently by getting these threats out earlier. Wow. Archspore Mishfin. Talk about value. That's the Mishfin puts the Mishfin Prime, which is a 9/9 that can summon another 9/9 with Rush or Taunt. One of the most underused primes, but it has its places, like for example in the Quest Druid that Language Hacker brought. That's its place.
Yeah, very much so. That Archspore Mishfin was surprisingly clutch in some of our practice games, just to have early taunt. And I don't even think necessarily because it does anything really dramatic for it doesn't actually do anything too crazy by a late stage of the game. By like turn 9 and 10, watching Mishfin Prime hit the board, you're like, all right, well, I mean, that's kind of what you expect to see in this late stage of the game, right? Everyone's playing crazy powerful stuff by 9 and 10 mana now. So I'm not super impressed by the Mishfin, but like the fact that it helps you flesh out your curve and gives you something to play later on and help utilize your mana, and the fact that sometimes if you have the ability for that choose one to now just become choose both, it's a very nice touch there in that Quest Druid. And he picks up the Vendetta, which is very nice with this questing adventure. You can use it right now and pick off the board, and it should be relatively safe unless Priest has just direct removal for that questing adventure. And the upside is so big because you have Evil Miscreant, you have Secret Passage, and these other ways to really make that questing adventure grow.
Yeah, honestly, killing one of the few Priest players to not have any copies of Holy Smite in the list, which means that if he does go for that play, it's likely that his questing adventure would survive. So I wouldn't mind that at all. And you could see Eddie probably, glancing over at the list being like, trying to convince himself not to play the questing because it does look enticing right now.
Give me a quest.
All right, there we go.
I like it. I think it's worth the risk. I think can't really play too afraid of Priest because you tend to play directly into their hands since they will be given the time to amass the resources, draw the cards, plan out the tempo.
All right.
Killen does have a way to draw into the removal through the Wand Maker, but looks like he's going to prioritize using the one off of Raise Dead. Finds Holy Smite off the top. Oh my goodness.
Even Killen was like, oh yeah, that's the stuff right there.
How can one man be that good at Hearthstone? I don't understand.
Oh man. That's funny. That's funny because Eddie like thought long and hard. He's like, all right, confirming. There's very little chance that he could deal with this.
That was actually the only thing. He needed precisely those 2 cards, TJ.
Yep.
A Wand Maker. He had a Wand Maker in hand. But, you know, the fact that Raised Dead brought back that other Wand Maker, which gave him the Holy Smite.
Yeah, he also could have, like, you know, renewed into a Shadow Word Pain. But also very unlikely. Or renew into a Holy Smite or a Silence or something along those lines. Like, those are ways to deal with it, but that one is just... It feels the best. Perfect mana utilization, you get development on board. Just feels good. Moving forward in the matchup, killinallday gets to drop a Twilight Drake pretty safely here. You mentioned the Twilight Drakes in the deck for killing. I also like those choices. Just allows you to play proactively for tempo a lot more often. The downside of playing additional minions is the situation in the turn prior, where sometimes you just don't have an answer to a minion in your deck right away. But that's where the Wand Maker comes in. You don't have to worry about it. And Twilight Drake in that instance is always an upside.
Yeah. And he's shaking the head, just kind of thinking about how he fights back on tempo, which is kind of what we talked about here, right? Part of the reason why we liked the Twilight Drake was for situations like this, where Priest is like, okay, I can take the proactive stance, I'm going to do it, and they can really press into it. And he finds some powerful late game dragons, not anything applicable right now, so going for the Cobalt Spellkin. Rogue tends to do much better with those cheap spells anyways. Pass over to killinallday. Killin finds another renew, not really what he needed immediately, given that he had one in hand. Does, I guess, quickly pull up to see the deck. Let's see what secrets are in Eddie's rogue deck, which we covered earlier. But it is plagiarize primarily being the most common secret that you will often see in situations like this. But dirty tricks also just as likely.
Yep.
Wow. So Eddie will now have 2 Cobalt Spellkins in hand.
I mean, Cobalt Spellkin in Rogue can be interesting because of Togwaggle Scheme.
Ooh.
Plague of Madness can be good. Brain Freeze can be good. Dragon's Horde can also be a lot of value. Daring Escape can also be a ton of value. But I feel like when talking about like late long game against Priest, like Togwaggle Scheme is the most interesting one. Just because, it can sometimes be tough to find a spot to use it, but let's say you use it on a Archspore Mishfin at some point in the game, and then at a certain stage you're either drawing Mishfins or Mishfin's Primes, which can get weird later on. That's just an example, but there are many ways that you can get into odd situations. But Brave Freeze Plague Madness are great for tempo in the current situation. Let him catch up back up on board.
Yeah, I think I like backstab Brain Freeze a little bit more, just because I don't necessarily want Killin to be able to swing tempo so dramatically on the other side. But I guess maybe Eddie feels like this is better, because then he could utilize these combos more efficiently next turn and just get the 2 swings out of the Plague of Madness, because you only can remove 1 minion at a time with your face. So maybe Eddie feels like this is 2 turns of removal versus just the 1. And now Killin finds more 1-mana spells. I mean,
This is
his hand averages less than 2 mana per card right now.
Yeah.
So cheap.
Is going to go with a Renew on the Cobalt Spellkin, which he gains 2 random cards from the Sethics and gets to discover 1 from the actual Renew.
What? Okay. Wow. Okay.
Not too quickly.
So you can save that Cobalt Lackey for a little bit. Go ahead and Draconic Studies. Murazon.
All those
The issue is a lot of
decent.
rogues cards put cards in your hand. So I don't really think Killing All Day needs more value. Still a good card though.
Yeah. It's the only one with an immediate effect, which I feel like is very crucial against Rogue in later stages of the game. You don't want to just play an expensive thing that doesn't do anything unless you have it has a turn on board.
A simple spell.
Oh, there it is, TJ.
How much is this worth?
Waggle's
Scheme. All right, now Eddie has a very weird alternative game plan against Priest. We won't talk about
That's
it
right.
unless it becomes absolutely necessary, because I don't think Eddie's really going to think about it unless it becomes absolutely necessary. There's also, the potential that Eddie just uses it on a pretty high value minion relatively early, something that he knows that he'll be happy to draw. It's hard to find those things because a low cost tempo minion you don't necessarily want to draw in all situations because you run out of value, and then a higher cost value minion you don't necessarily want to draw in case you fall too far behind.
Oh no.
Nice. I mean, it was
Well,
very
in
likely.
terms
that it
of
hits his own minion,
targets get
but-
backstabbed, that's his own. I guess that is the better one.
Yeah.
Jeez. A lot of health actually drained from the Plague of Madness. Pretty interesting. Now Eddie has to clear off this Murazon while trying to set up the best possible tempo available. Still has a secret passage in hand too if he ever wants to try to dig with his deck a little bit. And then utilize these 1-mana spells. Because the thing about these 1-mana cards in his hand from Eddie's side is they're all support cards. They're not necessarily the power cards that you're thinking about immediately. So he could use a secret passage and get that. But it looks like he rips an opportunity to get Keladon off the Dragon's Horde or Lord Barov.
He could Keladon and then Tog scheme it, so he has a board wipe. A couple board wipes in his deck. I think it's only 2 at this stage, but Lord Barov is the choice instead. Seems like a more flexible removal option.
Right, and it's playable. The tempo is relatively the same because Keladon kills 1 unit and it's a 3/3. This kills 2 units and it's 3/2, and it's much cheaper. I just feel like it lines up a lot cleaner this way.
Yeah. Another Micro Mummy.
Whew. Pumping up that Togwaggle scheme. Kellen has 3 sets of Apotheosis
Yeah,
in his hand.
that is quite insane. And then Eddie has just a weird array of value/disruption. Honestly, these are the games that are hardest for me to navigate because it's so difficult to try and guess how this game state is going to progress because there are so many cards. Almost every card in both players' hand is just a generated card. Five cards in Eddie's hand, and at the beginning of that turn, 6 cards in Killing All Day's hand. So, nice little healing there. Gets to take back the board. A little bit of tempo on his side. Oh,
Ooh. Alar's pretty fun. Just to really make things difficult for Priest. But they do have a lot of ways to deal with Alar through the form of stealing minions. Not to mention that Eddie does have Togwaggle schemes, so you always think about what of these minions, if any, do I want to use Togwaggle schemes on?
Maybe on the Jandis? I think here you just play the mission and break freeze. Oh, nope, wants a fully clean board, wants to go a little bit wide. Right, I guess you're doing the micro mummy here then. If that's your goal.
Yep.
Soon.
The Soul Mirror wouldn't be that big of an issue. Oh, he's going for the Togwaggle scheme. More Jandis.
So it is a little weird with Secret Passage, because if you Secret Passage, you can only play one if you draw into multiple copies, but it was only a 3 shuffle Togwaggle scheme, which is not that big of a deal. It'll give him some like fatigue protection, allow him to use Secret Passage a little more aggressively and still have a deeper array of threats in his deck. Ugh.
Yeah, I don't know what Killen was maybe expecting off that Mind Vision. He was maybe hoping for probably like some kind of temple tool that, can like Eddie was maybe holding it to stay ahead, and instead has found Micro Mummy.
Yeah, I mean he did. So he knows that one card is a legendary, and one card is a reborn minion. Wait, was it a Arrow Cap? Not that.
Yeah.
Okay, a reborn minion that wasn't played last turn with mana to play a lot of different things instead of Kobold Lackey. So maybe he was hoping just for a high value card from one of those. This is kind of funny though, pretty annoying. These micro mummies with reborn and divine shield just kind of buffing each other.
Right. Does have the ability to remove one with the Blackjack Stunner. Although I do think from Eddie's perspective, this might be a Secret Passage opportunity as well. He has 10 full mana crystals. Secret Passage has been held for a long time. And part of the advantage of Secret Passage is you get to play with cards outside your hand. And right now, if he spends all of his cards, he's going to next turn play Secret Passage and be left with nothing on the following turn. So I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, he's running out of time to react though, because he's taken so long to make the even decision to play Secret Passage. So because of that, it looks like he's not going to go for it, and instead go for a maximum tempo play.
I like it. I think Eddie may have thought in his mind that Killen, if he had the Soul Mirror, would have pulled the trigger there, because that felt like a pretty good opportunity to clear off a lot of the board, and you don't want to take, 10. So Eddie re-equips, going to end up playing maximum tempo this turn with guarantee. He also knows that he did shuffle in a bunch of Jandis Bear-offs, so Secret Passage actually is a lot worse now that I think about it.
Mm-hmm.
killinallday finds Mind Flayer Karsh, not really super impactful at the moment here. His it's a Radiance, not a Renew.
Yeah.
Okay, we have Apathy. I guess he just wants to stop the amount of damage. Right now, there's a lot of power being represented on board. What, 15 damage prior to that wave?
Yeah.
But the follow-up question is still the same here. Does he just, play the Apotheosis? He understands that also that this is plagiarized now, because he just tested for the secret. Didn't see Dirty Tricks, now it's plagiarized. So how much do you give to your opponent?
Yeah, I don't think you play Apotheosis because you're giving your opponent just as much power as you gain. Like, just as much power as health gained.
Right.
I wouldn't have minded a Radiance in that scenario as well, because you're going to have to use it eventually, and I don't think the way you win this game is going to be by, killing them at this stage. Maybe it is, though. It is only 1 mana, so you can fit it in. Why play more than you need to if it's not something that's helping you gain tempo? But...
I mean, I'm still feeling the secret passage here.
Yeah.
Eddie's
all right.
side looks like he agrees. Go into the tunnel, see what we find. Kobold, not Kobold, Evil Miscreant.
Ooh.
Faces lackeys, which is a little bit awkward given that he has lack of board space. Interesting. I was thinking about shadow stepping the Jandis, but looks like Eddie chose to trade Jandis.
He wants board space, I guess.
Right? But there were ways to get board space without having to do that.
Of course it's the right way.
Wow. I am thoroughly whelmed.
Yeah. Did he miss damage?
Or Mesa Redagger, or he could have like played Vendetta, or I guess I don't know. That felt like a lot weaker of a turn than it had to be, like because he still could have just played Vendetta for 4 mana as well as the Redaggering, and they could have killed off the Mind Flayer here, stopping the ability for Killing to capitalize off the cards like the Apotheosis. So I'm not entirely sure about that turn, DJ. I guess I just feel like it was an okay turn. It felt like there was a lot more potential there.
Yeah. It seemed like his thoughts were a little bit disjointed on what he actually wanted to accomplish.
The game was like, you liked Holy Smite, right? You wanted Holy Smite for Rogue, right? You wanted
like,
here,
really
have a Holy
happy.
Smite. Wait, did you get
About
Holy
that
Smite
first
yet?
one.
Here's another Holy Smite. Wait, do you have a Holy Smite? I mean, looks like Killen has a lot of skeletons in in his closet, but more than happy to throw them out onto the board. Eddie picks up the Shadow Duhanar, but no secret in hand. But could generate it through the Wand Thief, so we can start things off with the Wand Thief to see what spell we get, lean towards having a secret, find an opportunity to capitalize off the value for Shadow Duhanar, and maybe ride this little miniature wave of tempo all the way home. But the problem is that lifesteal minion on the Mind Flayer, which, again, didn't have to stay on that board. Eddie played a little bit conservative with the amount he wanted to extend there, but we'll see if this spell can redeem that. Does not find a convenient removal for the Mind Flayer. Would have to trade a minion plus Icicle, or have to just trade a minion in general with the, like a buff like a Goblin Lackey. Oh wait, he does have a 3 attack minion on board. I apologize. So he does have the trade here.
It's just the trade. The
What is
trading of
happening with
Alars.
this Alar?
Oh man.
This Alar's been through a lot.
Yeah. Now he can just trade over it again.
Killed.
Yeah. So,
Reborn, it's been killed again, it's been reborn again. I mean, he can play Soulmere and get an Alar for himself.
yeah. Is that better than like getting the Alar and giving the Alar over to your opponent? Is that better than Holy Smite and then Soulmere? Or Soulmere and then Holy Smite?
I mean, Soulmere looks really good here for sure.
Oh, wait.
I guess the follow-up is really interesting because could just play his Holy Smite right here. The Holy Smite doesn't feel good though because Alar would revive, right?
Yeah. But it does make it so they don't have an attacking 7 attack minion on their board next turn, which does have a ton of value actually. Because
That's
it will res,
fair,
but it
assuming he
will
doesn't
have
have a
a
Goblin Lackey. Oh my goodness!
All right, time
Matrix
to
off
go.
the top.
Counterspell?
You know what? Yeah. You know, I was thinking like that it was a little bit too expensive. Ooh, Snipe.
Okay, never mind. Snipe.
Snipe was one I was expecting the least. But I guess he knows about Micro Mummy, so he's like, okay, they'll at least deal with the front half of that. I like the idea of both Plagiarize and Flame Ward. Flame Ward deals a little bit more with that board state, and then Plagiarize, of course, gives you more cards, because it does seem like we're getting down to the final points of this game where there is going to be one player that has a little bit more resources and getting advantage. Neither player has truly been able to win the Tempo War, and so this is huge.
Ooh,
Oh, wait.
that's the one.
Well, what he can do is trade into a Lar and steal the egg, which is fun.
Yeah, but then he's not dealing with the Shadow Jeweler.
I must consider.
Yeah, he still could through a apotheosis, but he could just end up. Well, he does need to test the secrets as well, which is huge. Okay, good test there for redemption. Doesn't see Bamboozle. Doesn't see Freezing Trap. Doesn't see Snake Trap. Doesn't see Peck Tactics.
Not too quickly.
Doesn't see Explosive. Doesn't see Misdirection. So knows that it's Snipe
Let me change your mind.
or Pressure Plate. All right,
Now
deals the
Killen's
Shadow
just-
Jewel Hanar, isolates the Alar.
Yeah. But he does have Plagiarize, which gives him the Cabal Shadow Priest right back.
But he can't afford to Cabal Shadow Priest and then play Secrets because he won't have enough mana left and he's just going to die. There's
Oh,
enough
yeah.
power
No,
on board.
I was thinking more about Cabal Shadow Priest past this Evil Miscreant.
Oh, okay. And then trade the Alar?
Ah, jeez. So
I feel like
many
you can still
low
die.
health minions. You know, TJ,
Or
I
they
think
like to
I've
die.
gone hundreds of games seeing a Lar in some shape or form, and I've never seen it this effective. And it just so happened that because it was generated once, it's been generated so many times
I know.
in a Priest versus Rogue. And now Alar is like so threatening and problematic to deal with in these wars of attrition.
Yeah.
It's pretty sweet.
Choose. Let me change.
Yeah, this
your
does seem
mind.
like the best way for Eddie to survive, but he's got to trade a power, but I think you got to go with Faceless Lackey in case you get a Charger or Rusher. All right, so he's at 7.
Yeah,
We can
that's-
see that there is lethal
that's
on
gonna do it,
board
right?
for killing, though he doesn't know what this the secret is. So I think you can attack into a minion with the Micro Mummy first. Attack into Evil Miscreant Micro Mummy first. He'll see that it's Snake Trap, but even if he didn't, if it was like a face secret, he could trade, then heal up his Apotheosis trade, heal up his Alar, and then hit
Yep.
face. Misdirection would be the only thing that punished him in that case, but this is the best test. Trade with the small Micro Mummy.
I wonder.
Yep, Eddie leaning back, waiting his fate, but kind of knows what's about to happen here. And with no ability to stop this, Killinallday is going to be able to cross the finish line in a marathon of a game number 1 here. Priest able to get that win over the Rogue. Killinallday up 1-0 and really needs that win. He's 2-3. Getting the series victory would be huge for his playoff hopes. Losing here would be devastating for his chances of potentially avoiding the relegation bracket.
Yeah.
So
It's a big one.
with that, TJ, we're almost at the halfway point here of today. It's been kind of fast, furious first 2 series, and then we kind of slowed it all the way down. But that does lead us to our next intermission. So we're going to take a few minutes and get set, and when we come back, Eddie and Killinallday is going to get into game number 2. Stay tuned. You're watching Hearthstone Grandmasters.
Hearthstone Grandmasters is brought to you by T-Mobile.
Switch today and rank up to America's largest 5G network, T-Mobile.
Pets that I had growing up, many frogs. Used to catch a lot of frogs.
I had 2 goldfish, when I was at 8, I think.
We got our first cat. His name was Tiger. He was a barn cat.
Probably 100 to 200. They were all goldfish, and they all died relatively quick.
My sister got a dog. His name was Primo.
Most recently, we have a cat called Ember, which my family fails to call by name because they just try to like call her like that, but her name's Ember.
My little brother got a cat. Oh gosh, I don't know his cat's name. I moved out of the house before he got that cat.
I had a cat growing up. His name was Charlie, which in English would translate as Charlie.
The girl I was with at the time had 2 cats.
I had a bunch of pets growing up. I don't know if I want to give out their names that I remember, because I might use those for other purposes, but
The girl I'm with now has a cat, and her name is Kiki. So lots of cats, lots of dogs. Always love having an animal in the household, at least one.
Welcome back, everyone, to Hearthstone Grandmasters for the Americas. We are in our 3rd match here of the first day of Week 7, as we have killinallday up 1-0 over Eddie after being able to get off to that really fast 1-0 lead with that, well, not really fast, but when he started pushing, it started ending pretty quickly with that Paris versus Rogue matchup. It's been a fast day overall, though, because we've had a 3-0 sweep in the first series and a pretty one-sided 3-1 with no hands against Just Sam. And we're going to go into game number 2, of this match, with killinallday going to Tempo Mage. killinallday has had lots of success with Tempo Mage on latter previous seasons and does seem to be very well versed with this style of deck. So looking forward to see what he can do for us in the last week here, which makes sense, right? This is the last week of the round robin. A lot of times you got to stick to your guns. killinallday on Tempo Mage, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it's rare in Hearthstone that you can point at a competitive player and point out a very specific strength, because most competitive players are just generally good at Hearthstone. But I will say that if I had to pinpoint one specific strength about Killing All Day, it's about maximizing odds with like randomly generated outcomes. Right, like one of the, I feel like one of his best decks in past metagames was like the Yogg-Saron Malygos Druid, which is kind of funny to say, but I felt like he was really good at that deck, really good at you know, a lot of these very complicated combo decks like Quest Rogue, and now good at Tempo Mage. And I feel like when you're talking about a player who gives himself those 2 to 3 extra percentage points consistently, when you're talking about, you know, things that are outside of your control, outside of your deck, I feel like that's one of Killing All Day's very specific strengths. So Tempo Mage makes a lot of sense, given kind of his history and his track record with decks. Whereas Eddie, if I had to give him a specific strength, it's about finding win conditions in games that your primary win condition is thrown out the window. And honestly, I would consider Control Priest a deck that does not have a primary win condition from the beginning. So his specific strength also fits this deck because he's good at just pulling win conditions out of his butt. And Priest, you have to do that every game.
You've got me fired.
Thanks for
Turn
coming
3
to my
here
TED
looks. Always glad to hear your thoughts, DJ. Well, I think the Crimson Hothead in this position is pretty annoying and kind of warrants Killen to use his Devolving Missiles here. But yeah, kind of going back to, you know, some of the things that we were talking about and kind of what you were saying here. Killen's just like, oh, okay, hold on. Do we want to play this Wand Thief right here? I think so. It makes sense. You want to start to set up for a really good turn. The thing that I want more than anything right now is a way to successfully land Raz that makes me feel good about it.
And that best be done by keeping these lab partners alive and well.
The angry chicken. All right, well, Eddie lost his board, and now Mage is really firmly ahead. Is there any way that Eddie can win it back here?
The future is clear. Your demise be near.
Well, Evocation can certainly help. I wonder if that's the pick over Raz. I guess he does have a proactive minion to play next turn with Evasive Draconid. But that does use his coin. It uses up his Draconic Studies buff, which means he delays his Murzon. It's actually interesting because he actually doesn't have that much mana to be able to utilize Evocation, but Evocation just, I feel like, has the potential to be so good, especially at reacting to an opponent's board.
Must consider.
Yeah, I guess hand space is an issue. Like, his hand is pretty heavy, and so Evocation would be like generating like 3 cards. Still worth a shot though, especially as the game continues to go on. We don't anticipate this matchup to end very quickly, although it totally can if one player gets out to a very quick start. But yeah, this Raz, it's pretty nasty. Eddie knew it, was sort of expecting it. Still doesn't have an answer to it right now in his hand. Oh, he does now.
So Wild Pyromancer, Holy Smite, heal, coin, something? I don't know. I mean, that's the way to deal with the Raz. Raised Dead will bring him back. Madame Lazul.
Well, he
as
needs
well
to kill
as
off
an angry chicken.
something here. 2 spells should do the trick.
Yeah, he's got a
Jeez,
heal.
this does feel pretty bad, though.
Ray's dead. Get back his angry chicken.
Oh, yeah. Oh, finds the wand maker instead.
Yeah. But importantly, does deal with the board, you know, which is, even though it's wasting a coin and it's a good amount of resources to do so, he's also putting resources back into his hand. You know, he has some stall tools until he gets to his own big threats with Wave of Apathy, Evocation, you know, very likely to pick up some form of freeze. I guess he doesn't have much hand space, but also has Shadow or Death if Killing All Day felt brazen enough to just play a Mana Giant onto the board right now, 1 turn before Soul Mirror. But he doesn't even, his Mana Giant costs 8. He has not played a spell or a card that has started outside of his deck. Kind of surprising at this stage in the game. 6 turns without doing that is pretty impressive for Priest, or for Mage, excuse me.
Yeah, no, it definitely is the case. And, you know, we kind of talked a little bit about how Evocation might be a hard scenario to use, but, you know, any dumping cards is okay for the future turns as well, so...
Your feeble magic.
Evasive Draconid is problematic. Mage does not like dealing with this card very much. But perhaps Killen can find another Devolving Missiles? Maybe can find... maybe just Arcane Missiles from the Spellwing will end it. There it is.
Devolving!
God Gamer.
And you got to be worried if you're Eddie and you see an insta pick. And he just like, why? He's not even like upset. He's just like, why?
Why does he always have it? Right? I think that's what he said.
Yeah.
Runs out on me.
All right. The Memorial Studies finds. I guess Mana Reservoir makes sense given that it is cheap and you can play it right now. You can actually even kill off the Archmage. Definitely a problematic card in Priest.
A simple
And
step.
Eddie's got to be careful here because he is down to just 15 life. If he keeps trying to like play for value here and not go for like meaningful swings. Not that he really has too much of a choice here, but just something to think about in the future turns. Killing All Day is also starting to come up on some pretty big power turns of his own. He's got Mana Giant, Conjurer's Calling. He's also got Evocation to fish for, you know, some type of game-ending damage.
Right. And with so many ways to generate spells, I feel like playing a 4-mana Mana Giant is not being greedy enough. So I'd definitely be okay with holding out for 1 more turn. We're already in that territory where anything you do could still be countered by Soul Mirror, so... Wow. Wow!
What? That's actually incredibly unlikely. Incredibly unlikely. Killing All Day's cards are firing on all cylinders today.
Yes.
His cards. I mean, I guess he is too, but his cards more so.
They're just kind of doing exactly what you want to do, as if he's controlling it. All right, so we have the Sethic Veilweaver and the Shadow Word Death. That does make sense as the core foundation of this turn's play. From there, you don't really have many plays, though. That's the awkward thing about it. Is it better instead to just develop something a little bit better on the board, like this Cobalt Spellkin? Ends up agreeing. I guess you could renew here as well, just because, like you said earlier, TJ, Eddie does have limited life here. He's not at a comfortable life total, and Mage does have ways to generate spells to end the game randomly, and if you don't expect it.
Quickly.
So with Apotheosis here, and he could go for like Wave of Apathy to stall instead of Shadow or Death, because the Shadow or Death here, you know that the Tortolan is just going to get Conjurer's Calling again. So you're going to have to deal with the same amount of power. And now he gets to value trade it and then Conjurer's Calling. So he's going to have 2 more 8-drops guaranteed. Maybe the Wave of Apathy is kind of the emergency button to press if he's like guaranteed to die next turn if he doesn't use it, but I feel like that isn't or where optimism can work out. Terralion.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm looking more forward to if Killen wants to use the Conjurer's Calling again. Pretty beefy ones. And he's just like, well, what do I do? Wave of Apathy is nice, but he has no combo after that. No ways to steal. He could also play Murazan. But
Murazan,
targets are
Wave of
random, TJ. What is he going to do?
Woo!
Wait. Oh. Wait. A Lucent Bark. Also, by the way, there's still 5 attack. Killen could still just find lethal here if he just generates it off of the evocation.
Yeah. The Murazan. I'm not sold on the Murazan there. It's very unlikely that goes horribly wrong. There's also the opportunity that, let's say, you go Wave of Apathy. I don't know. Like you're more than likely to put like 5 or 6 minions on your opponent's side of the board, and then you're still like at 4. I don't know. That seems too hopeful. But not really any like significant damage picked up. He does have polymorph arcane missiles.
Right. We're actually very close to lethal. Just doesn't have enough. Let's say he could control the arcane missiles that go 3 to phase, plus the hero power. He would have 9. His opponent's at 10.
Yeah.
So it actually was reasonably close. Still is reasonably close. And now from Eddie's side, he still doesn't have an answer to what's going on. Maybe if he finds... But doesn't even have hand space for evocation. This was kind of the problem that I was talking about before with evocations. Like, Priest does not really have trouble with resources very often.
He can Conjurer's Calling his Murazan, get a Rush minion, and Apotheosis it.
Okay.
Problem is the secret. He hasn't tested for the secret, but at this point, I think you just have to say, it needs to be something that doesn't affect my best turn, because I need to make my best turn.
Power in turgets.
We're not in the 100% desperation mode just yet, but we're rapidly approaching there. It is the 11th hour.
Quickly.
So he can still Radiance and heal his face?
Yes.
And be safe from the board?
Yes. He's safe from what he sees. 7 power on the board through minions.
What is he doing?
You know what he's doing. He's waiting for the Doomsayer.
No, but like that turn, like he didn't plan out his mana at all after he checked for initial secrets. Like I feel like he
Yeah.
I guess he couldn't have gotten the Crimson Hothead down with a heal, but it felt like he was kind of not sold on what he wanted to do. I guess the secret is what made it awkward, but at least he filled up all his mana for the turn and made himself live on board. But in those kinds of situations, you kind of just got to go. And honestly, I wouldn't have even been upset if he had not even played around secrets and just done what was the best potential for a possible turn. Because what is his out now? Like he's going to be at 1 a lot of time.
Time runs out on me.
Maybe he's just waiting for Soulmere, but that seems a little too hopeful.
Just goes all face. Not going to be really preoccupied by any of what's being showcased on board here. Eddie ends up finding the Renew. Renew maybe gives him, what, Plague of Death? Oh, wait, he's healing his Murzon. Okay, so he wants to get that life steal to rebound in health. The gamble has paid off. 2 raised deaths. Awkward. Penance. More lifesteal opportunities. Okay, goes for the Luzul scheme. Finds Penance anyways.
No, this is a Conjurer's Calling in hand, so that Khadgar's definitely got a target on its back.
Yeah. Needs to find some way to deal with this Deathwing. However, Feast.
More healing? More cards?
Yeah, but still, he needs to find some way to still deal with this. He does not. And he is still dead.
I don't know.
I'm not exactly sure if Eddie was specifically counting on something. I think he was basically looking for a Wave of Apathy again.
Yeah.
And was hoping that he would have used Wave of Apathy the same way that mages use Frost Nova, just stalling the board and eventually like getting tempo onto it so his opponent can't deal with that big board. It was a really interesting idea. Like I hadn't spotted that line, but it definitely did not work out the way that I'm sure Eddie had hoped for. But that was an interesting series of possible outs there. I think a lot of people may have just considered the initial thing was like, okay, I'm just going to try to heal myself, try to find like Plague of Death and just roll the dice there. Eddie gave himself many outs by playing those things with the Cethel Weavers.
But like, even within the context of how he ended up playing that turn, he didn't even do. Assuming he doesn't get any outs, exactly how that plays out, he could have survived on board if he penances the Lucent Bark instead. Because you penance the Lucent Bark, you trade over 3 damage and 2 damage, and then the Murzon plus the other Sethek Bellweaver go into the Deathwing. And you're at 14, you're leaving 11 power on board. I don't know. Maybe there was slightly more power, but like, along with the other random spells, he can like Lazul Scheme the Sorcerer Apprentice instead. Yes, the Conjurer's Calling still isn't out for killing, since you don't kill off the Khadgar. But in the grand scheme of things, like I feel like Eddie was playing under the mindset of, especially with the Murzon turn, right? He was playing under the mindset of, I'm just going to be incredibly hopeful and play my cards and hope they work out, instead of, this is the play that buys me another turn or another couple turns, which oftentimes is how you win with Priest against Mage, because they have a finite amount of resources. Eventually, you will find the Soul Mirror. You will find an opportunity where you can, change the path of the game. It didn't seem like Eddie wanted that. He just wanted to hope that he the high rolled his way out of a certain situation. At least that's what the Murzon play told me, which I guess is a way you can play that matchup if you think it's poor, but I don't necessarily think it's like poor enough to where you have to take those kinds of risks and be that optimistic. Just a sloppy game, I think, overall.
All right, well, we'll see. I mean, that game is in the books, and let's go to the Warrior Mirror. Not exactly a matchup we see very often in the past couple of weeks here. Just because it feels like a lot of people have been either like banning the Warrior or they just aren't bringing Warrior because they don't want to be targeted by Warrior, but we do have the Bomb Warrior versus the Pain Warrior. We tend to lean a little bit more towards the Bomb Warrior side just simply because they have more damage output per card, but the combination attacks from the Pain Warrior can be pretty devastating with Shield of Honor, Bloodsworn Mercenary, Rampage. Not in that order, of course. Gillen has nothing to do here. Let's look at pass. No weapon really does make that Bomb Warrior fall behind, so this early anchor and the fact that Live Wire lands in the hand from Eddie looks pretty good.
Yeah, you just keep drawing cards, keep gaining value, and the problem is eventually you do have to start sticking meaningful pressure, because this is kind of exactly how the Bomb Warrior wants to play. They want to play things slow. They want to have time to shuffle bombs. They want to have time to react to what you're doing and your board states.
Yeah, this Wrench Caliber draw is pretty nice. Lets you swing immediately. I think you could choose to swing at the Sky Raider. And if your opponent chooses to Rampage, you could, and even copy, you could Bladestorm it. I guess the issue would be to swing the Wrench Caliber twice because you kill it to 2/2. But that is a possibility that Killer can map out here. The other would be to take it extremely slow, capitalize off his removal of things like Brawl, and then just set up the weapon and not swing. But I'm going to look real quick just to make sure he doesn't have any tech cards that I may have missed. Doesn't seem like that is the case. So it looks like Killin is going for the equip and no swing, which I think also does make sense because even if the opponent does nothing, let's say his opponent just develops a pirate that he gets, then you can use Dr. Krasinov in the weapon swing to really take over the board here. The Shield of Honor, though, very annoying, very nasty.
Yep. And this is kind of an annoying turn, honestly, for Killin. Because the Brawl has a chance to really punish him in this instance. It could just ignore this for now and go for Dr. Krasinov, but one of the things that Pain Warrior does well is it's super annoying and it doesn't have to go all in, right? The slower Killing All Day takes like this board state, the slower Eddie can also take it on the other side. If Killing All Day just like Dr. Krasinov's in its face, Eddie can just Live Wire Lance, hit him for 4 again, get another Lackey in hand, try and build his game plan. Like, until Killing All Day like capitalizes on some of this removal, Eddie doesn't have to play into any of it. As long as he's pushing damage and as long as he's pressuring.
Yeah, it's definitely something that we've noticed a lot with this Warrior, that Bomb Warrior can totally play a reactive game plan. We kind of think about it as a deck that just loves to swing very proactively, similar to like a Demon Hunter. Set yourself up so that you can win off of bomb draws. But, the nice, unique thing about it is that as the game goes deeper, as your opponent plays Battle Rages, draws a ton of cards, you can clear the board and just kind of increase your chances of having the bomb consecutive draw to punish your opponent. So I'd say overall that Killin has a lot of options here. The problem would be still, though, how do you deal with this Warmaul challenge that seems to be increasingly more problematic? Now it's not dealt with for multiple turns and getting a lot of value.
Someone's gotta lead the charge.
I wonder. Oh, interesting.
Ooh,
That Bloodseer
that
Corsair
could be big.
is spicy. It's no Cobalt Sticky Finger, but it'll do.
It'll do. Again, it feels like those Warmon Challengers 4-7 start to get really threatening. Things start to pile up here. Just have a way to clear the board and gain some armor.
Yep.
This will gain.
This is very clean, actually.
3 more. Get armor up and shield slam, or just shield slam actually, since it would have been damaged. Nicely done.
Yeah, floats some mana, but not a really big deal here. Starting to wonder if Killing All Day will ever find the opportunity to play a coin. Finds a Cobalt Sticky Finger, by the way. There's going to be some weapon disruption. I guess it doesn't matter, though, because Eddie's going to most likely swing this turn with his weapon.
Yeah. And doesn't have only has one more weapon actually in the deck, period.
Right.
Though he does have another Corsair Cache, so it could be high value. I wonder how worried Eddie is about giving Killing All Day additional armor. But it doesn't seem worried at all. He's going to be able to gain his own armor and battle rage it up. Okay, he's not going to. He's not going to go all in. Draw 4 cards from his battle rage. Is he not going to swing? Is his hand full? I think he has one space.
Yeah, it could be that he has too many cards in hand and doesn't want to dump anything. He has 9 cards in hand at the moment. And the Cobalt Sticky Finger here would be pretty interesting. Does let him even potentially use that Lackey immediately. And maybe in the back of Killen's mind, he's thinking, is it an opportunity to just play Galakrond instead? You know, capitalize on the fact that you have 7 mana this turn, use a 7 mana card. Man, look at that. He's just thinking, like, what is happening today? Killen misses on the second Wrench Caliber. But still, drawing cards is good. Helps you get closer to that Wrench Caliber anyways. You already used Dr. Krasnov, so a little bit less bomb synergy anyways in your deck. And the more cards you draw, the closer you get to Blast Master Boom, the closer we are to having liftoff. So then from Eddie's perspective here, what's the game plan? Are we trying to play, you know, this Twilight Drake and just win tempo? Are we trying to combo cards and be really cute? Are we just gonna go get him, TJ, and try to combo him with the Bloodsworn Mercenary? I feel like this hand is full of possibilities.
I think that you just play annoying. Like, I think you just play out enough power to be threatening. But like not so much where you're like all in and weak to removal. Like this is incredibly annoying.
Oh yeah.
Because
very annoying.
You take damage from Brawl. Ooh, just a 1. Because really the only removal out here is Brawl. Because Bladestorm would make you take damage and summon more Boombots.
Well, he does have Brawl in hand, and he would just take a couple bits of damage. He could also heal it back up with that Evil Quartermaster or equip that Anchor and just start swinging.
What now?
Yeah. I'm
feeling a little bit better about the Brawl here, or the Anchor. Your opponent just used 2 ways to cement their damage, right? Because, oh. Wow, Killen's really okay with the amount of damage being dealt to him. Finds Risky Skipper. Really interesting. Any thoughts here, TJ, on this play here? This was very aggressive from Killen. Like, you know, he's not being conservative with his life total at all. I was thinking Brawl, and then you just smack whatever you have on the other end with the weapon, but it ends up being a clear anyways, and Killen's preserved maybe even more health than he would have.
He didn't take a single point of damage. all the bombs hit minions for 1, right?
Yeah, he
That's
did
pretty
take damage by
absurd.
swinging into the bomb wrangler.
He took
yes.
yeah, he took damage by swinging in, but no damage after the fact. So yeah, that worked out quite well. That worked out almost perfectly for killing. And now Eddie's starting to run out of gas, and the way Killen's been playing, he's been holding on to these valuable resource tools for things like this, where Eddie just plays one big thing onto the board. Killen's been able to hold on to this Blade Storm. Means he just gets to kill this Twilight Drake. And because Eddie was pretty aggressive with that Bloodsworn Mercenary, it means that his ability to combo is pretty minimal. It does feel like Killen has an opportunity to run away with this game. Slowly.
Yeah, we're getting there. Killen also...
Ooh, there's a lethal out here, Dan.
What's that?
It's potential lethal.
Yeah.
Grom Inner Rage,
For
hit
sure.
face, Witchy Lackey, into King Crush.
There you go. I like that. That seems to be a feasible line for Medi.
How many 9-drops are there?
I don't know off the top of my head. I'm just gonna throw a number. I'm gonna say like 20.
5% chance to win right now, Dan.
Does he feel
What are
like
your
his
odds to win
chances
in the
are higher than 5%? Is the question. I mean, that's assuming there are 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, it is 20. Wow. What a guess.
Wow! And now his chance is gone. Oof.
Yeah, just like that.
I think that, honestly, I might have gone for it. That's a really tough call to make. A 5% chance.
So you
But,
think
like,
that
what-
your 5% chance is the highest you'll ever have to win from his position?
Yes.
Interesting.
But we have the ability to see both players' hands.
Right?
Kellen does lack life gain, which is the big thing. But Eddie's... he's out of weapons, right?
Well, there was also another really impactful hit, which was if he got a Rattle Gore at 9 mana. That'd be very hard for Killing All Day to deal with. So you would hit with the Grom and then have Rattle Gore and then just not get dealt with for a long time. So TJ, you
so
might
10%
that's 10% good outcomes.
What else can we scoop up here as far as I win outcomes?
I don't really think. I think that's actually where it ends.
Yeah. You know, Dan, which leads me to believe that that's what the play was. It's like ripping.
Well, either way, Killen
gets down to
very much in the
25
driver's
and-
seat. This Horde Pillager guarantees that he gets that. Oh wait, the live wire lance he stole. I was gonna say guarantees that Red Caliber.
Well, sticky fingered.
Yeah.
comes
I
back
don't
to
think
bite
that's
him.
exactly what Killen was thinking about. Killen was thinking about the Red Caliber. Oh, awkward. I mean, Cobalt Sticky Finger is great, but sometimes he's trolling even the player that gets it. What a troll card. All right, Eddie is in. Grom. And hey, this is actually kind of the line that you talked about anyways. If he was going to commit to Grom, why not go for the lethal out? As Killen has...
I said it initially as a joke, and then the more I thought about it, the more I realized that I'm sure Eddie's played enough games from this position to know that it's very unlikely that he wins. Killing All Day with 7 cards left in his hand would have to have 0 removal.
That's right.
Which just
Don't
seems so
question
unlikely.
TJ, the top analyst in Hearthstone. 3-0 for killing all day. That's right. Sottle analysis, outdated. Gia's analysis, overrated. TJ is the analyst, top analyst in Hearthstone. You heard it here. Of course, there's going to be some people who clip that and probably send that over to the analyst or perhaps use it to divide us. But they admitted it on Hot Takes.
Yeah.
For people who don't know,
I mean,
that was an episode where Sottle had conceded to TJ.
And Dan, this is my X factor, right? When analyzing, is spotting those 5% lines that are just the play, right? Lethal for lethal's sake. That should be my motto. My analyst motto. That's why.
That does lead us to the conclusion of series number 3. Killin gets a crucial win, and it gets even closer. Language Hacker, Eddie, and Killin all day all have played today, and now they all have a 3-3 record. So that is going to be a very exciting Saturday and Sunday because some of these players are going to playoffs and some of them are not, and it's going to be very exciting to see how Division A continues to shake up. But that is it for Division A for today. We have Division B coming up with Empanizado. You can see definitely needs that win. Going up against Rami, who kind of had a little bit of a comeback.